What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Gaming with the Broscast, episode 125. And today is quite a different episode um, because it's just me. Nick got married this last weekend. It was a beautiful wedding, very special. Lots of laughter, tears, all that good stuff. Great happy memories. But he is on his honeymoon in the Dominican Republic, so he is currently probably sitting on a beach or a pool, having a nice cocktail while I'm stuck here doing the podcast. No, I'm just kidding. Nick, we wish you the best, buddy. You definitely deserve it. You and your now wife, Alicia. It was a great experience. But I decided to go ahead and do the podcast this week. Keep it rolling here. We got a couple things to talk about. Main topic is today is what games do we think are going to be delayed. We've had a bunch of delays here. Big ones like Starfield, Redfall, all that good stuff. So, but before we dive into that, of course we're going to talk about games that I have been playing. I have kind of put down Xenoblade for the moment, mainly because this week has been obviously really hectic with preparing for the wedding and all that good stuff. So I haven't played much of that, just because you have to you really have to pay attention in that game. There's so much story going on. It's really hard to kind of multitask while playing that game. It's not like a Halo or something else like that. So that's what I've mainly I've put aside here. I ended up picking up the Nickelodeon All Star Brawl game. I It went on sale for $20, and I had a couple of credits and Nintendo points. I ended up getting the game for $1, which is kind of insane. And I've played a few rounds of it so far. It's quite it's okay. It's a very okay game. It's a very okay Smash Brothers clone. It's a little bit slower than Smash, which I think Melee is my favorite Smash, and I think a lot of other people would probably say the same thing. I really like the way that felt and the way that played. I didn't play a ton of Brawl, and I did not play a ton of the Smash on the Wii U. But and then the Switch one I played a little bit, but just couldn't quite get into it. That game is more fun when you have a bunch of people in the same room playing versus online, for me at least. So it is what it is, but it's a decent Smash clone. It's got a bunch of different Nickelodeon characters, Reptar, a couple of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Aang, Korra from Avatar. So a lot of really good Nickelodeon characters. The biggest gripe I have with it so far is the fact that there's no voice acting in the game. There's the announcer that announces the actual names of the characters, of course, but there's not any sort of voice acting from the characters. In fact, when the game starts up, the characters will have like a little, one sentence like text or whatever. And I've already seen, like, I played the arcade mode with Aang, and I saw him repeat a few of his lines. So they didn't have a ton. So that's probably the biggest gripe I have. Other than that, it's really cool seeing all of your favorite Nickelodeon characters growing up, with their cool moves and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a solid game. I don't know how much I'm gonna play, and I don't feel so bad because I got it for $1. So it is what it is. So I'll probably play that a little bit more. Probably play more when I have people beside me playing, since I did pick it up on the Switch. So yeah, I'm excited to play that some more. I did play a little bit more Halo this week. I ended up missing the rest of the last standing mode game type. I know it's still on Halo, but it's not like a featured playlist. So I played some SWAT. They actually changed up SWAT, or excuse me, Tactical Slayer. They changed it up, and I was using the Mangler instead of like just the BR, which is a nice touch. Like, I think that's what's kind of missing from Halo right now. It's just variations in the game types that they have. So that's very nice to have that. Like, I would love to see like a shoddy snipers playlist or something like that. Like doubles. Like, how have we not have doubles yet in Halo? So I'm looking forward for them to keep adding on to that game, because at the end of the day, Halo Infinite is the best playing Halo game in my opinion. It just feels so good to play, but just everything around it has been kind of negative with the playlist and the lack of content, lack of maps, lack of new guns, whatever the case is. Like I understand, obviously, as an old school Halo player, we didn't necessarily need constant drip of new stuff, but and when you sell your game as a free to play, um, live service game, like that's kind of what you have to do. And 6 months worth of a battle pass is, I'm gonna say that for a long time is insane. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see how Halo evolves here in the next couple of months, but that's still quite a good game. And that's really all I've been playing. Game wise, I did download like the Control expansion pack for like a couple of bucks. Um, there's a sale going on, so I'm probably gonna. I actually need to play Control, and then I'll have those ready to go. So, and just because I know there'll probably eventually be a Control 2, and I heard that game was pretty amazing. So I need to dive into it and check it out. That is pretty much it as far as I have been playing. I still think I am on my like post Elden Ring slump where just nothing else has compared to it, to the point where I'm thinking about just starting another character in Elden Ring because it's just that good of a game, and I'm starting to see TikToks again and stuff like that. So, yeah, I might boot that game back up, but we'll see. We'll see. Especially with the rumors of like the DLC coming out in the the near future. So we'll see. I love that game so much. But let's go ahead and move on to the news. First, kind of the biggest news of the week is Raven Software has become the first ever like kind of AAA studio to create a union in North America, which is it is huge. That's great. That way, companies can, or individuals at a company can make sure that they're getting paid a good wage. Now there could be some ramifications from this. There could be a lot more, outsourcing from companies potentially. That could cause issues, trying to just find cheaper labor, because there's always going to be someone that's going to do the labor cheaper. So that's always an issue. And then if more and more companies decide to, unionize, there's a good chance that, video games as a whole, especially the price of gaming could definitely go up. Video games is kind of the lucky, what's the word? Medium that really hasn't been affected by, not necessarily by like COVID and the, just the increase of everything. Like, the price of everything has gone up: gas, food, labor, like wood material, stuff like that. So video games, like other than, Sony and a couple of other big name developers and publishers, the price of gaming has pretty much stayed at $60 since the start of the PS3 and 360 generation. So that has not been touched, but as it is a good thing for people to get paid what they deserve to be paid, just keep in mind that it's probably going to cause the price of gaming to go up. So that's something to keep an eye out on, and maybe it won't, but that is a good chance of that happening. So we'll just wait and see. This is the first major one, so we'll just wait and see what happens. But good for them. Good for them sticking to their guns and finally getting that unionization across. And and they're owned by Activision, so once Microsoft completes the acquisition, they'll have to take on that, of course, right? So, but either way, good on them for getting that through. Next up is, if I can pull this up here. GameStop enters the NFT space. I think they announced it a couple months ago that they were trying to start doing stuff. And obviously, GameStop is a a kind of a dying corporation, with the rise of digital sales and digital gaming. Um, Although with the little issue that Xbox had with people not being able to play their games when it was offline, that's still obviously a huge concern for people, and I think that's why GameStop is still relatively relevant in the market. But they're jumping into the crypto space to see what they can do. They're providing a wallet for in store currency and to enable transactions. So I don't know. I'm not the greatest person when it comes to knowing what all the benefits and negatives of NFT and crypto and all that stuff. Putting everything on the blockchain. So I'm not the best person to talk about that stuff. I don't have a vast knowledge of that. I do know that there's some good parts. There's some good parts to putting stuff on the blockchain. For example, like an artist, they can sell their work, and then if it's on the blockchain, no matter if the person they sell it to sells it in the future, they'll still get a cut of it. So, but with art now, someone draws a painting or paints a painting, draws a portrait or something. Once they sell that piece of work, that's it. They don't see any more commission from that. So I think there is benefits to crypto and all that good stuff. I know a lot of people talk about the what it could do to the environment and all that stuff, but you probably drive a gas car, right? So I mean, I think it'll only get better as far as that's concerned. But again, I'm not the biggest advocate of it. I don't know a lot about it, so I'm not gonna sit here and thrust my opinion. But I do see where people say, "Oh, it's bad for the environment," but look at every other company and look at what you drive. Are you recycling? Does recycling even matter? How does all this stuff end up in the ocean when we recycle? I'm not gonna go there, but that's I just wanted to state that. Let's move on to the next topic here. Hope you guys are liking this. It's just me. It's weird not having somebody to kind of jump a conversation back and forth between, but I am doing the best I can on episode 125. So kind of a big milestone for us. So I'm excited to be a part of it. Next up is there's potentially Death Stranding 2 got leaked by Mr. Norman Reedus himself. Something about a tweet about a sequel that he's working on, and what else could that be, right? So I don't know how well Death Stranding did. I know a lot of people liked it. I, for one, would like to see Kojima do something different, but again, I haven't played Death Stranding, and I want to, but I don't know. I heard kind of mixed things about it, so I don't know if that's something that necessarily warrants a sequel. I don't know how much people are begging for a sequel, or so I don't know. It's a little bit of a weird one for me. I thought for sure maybe he would work on something different, or some sort of like horror game or something like that. But anyways, I mean, it'll be cool to see what Kojima does. So we will keep our eyes peeled. And excuse me if I'm kind of losing my voice. I've got a little bit of a I call it a twang in my throat, like a little, like it's kind of scratchy, but we're getting through it. All right, next up here is Square Enix is planning on making some Final Fantasy VII announcements to correlate with its 25th anniversary. So maybe we'll get Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 announcement to figure out when that comes out. I think for sure Final Fantasy VII is the remake is going to be announced for Game Pass. I think that could be a huge grab for Microsoft, especially since they don't have a ton of stuff coming out this year anymore. Now that Redfall and Starfield got delayed, I think that would be a huge get for Microsoft, and I think that's definitely possible. I mean, all the other Square Enix stuff has been coming to Game Pass, so with 2 years now since Final Fantasy VII has came out to the PlayStation 4 / PS5, I think it's about time for it to come to Game Pass. I think that would be a really good get for Microsoft, and I would for sure play it. Let's move on to the next topic. And then last up, Sony is releasing, or maybe is releasing, a PS5 bundle with Horizon Forbidden West, and it's rumored to be around $550. So a little bit of a savings if about a $20 savings if you were to buy everything together or separately, I should say. Which is kind of interesting because I think in poor Horizon, it reviewed very well. The first game was excellent. This one I wasn't as excited for. I will play it down the road, and maybe this bundle will get me to play it. But the first Horizon came out and it launched right before Breath of the Wild and just got buried. And then of course this Horizon Forbidden West got absolutely buried by Elden Ring. I personally think whoever is in charge of release dates and marketing for this game should absolutely be fired. Not for real, but yeah, to have, I mean, you know in advance, okay, hey, we got destroyed by Zelda. All the buzz for Horizon was just killed by Zelda. You think once Elden Ring's release date was official, you say, hey, maybe we should push Horizon up a couple of months. I understand getting stuff into the fiscal quarter. I get that, and I'm sure that was a lot to do with Sony wanting to get that out there. But I think it would have sold better. The buzz maybe would have lasted a lot longer. But as soon as Elden Ring released, I mean, there was, it's very few times where video games will kind of trickle into every medium out there. From TikTok to Facebook to to the news, outlets, to everybody was talking about Elden Ring for like 2 months straight, and it was a beautiful time, and I miss it. And it was kind of like Animal Crossing, Pokemon Go. I mean, there's very few times where this huge zeitgeist comes and goes, and Horizon just got buried, and it's unfortunate because I know that's a really solid game, but it just got pummeled by all the buzz just got killed by Elden Ring. So. But it is what it is. It's a good game. I think the bundle will do well, assuming people can buy it. Hopefully that means if there's going to be a bundle coming out, hopefully that means they've got more PS5 in production. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me for them to do a bundle and then not have any more PS5. So hopefully they have more in production, and I may get one. Mainly because I want to play God of War Ragnarok, but we'll talk about that here on the next segment here. So that is going to do it for news. Just a reminder, we don't talk about every single piece of news out there. We mainly talk about the stuff that we really are interested in, or if something's like a really big deal. There's a lot of stuff that we don't cover, like a lot of PC stuff and stuff like that. But again, we try to talk about stuff we're passionate about, so we can really give a good opinion. I don't want to talk about something that I don't know I do not know a lot about. I did mention the GameStop stuff, but it's always fun to talk about GameStop. But let's move on to the final segment of the show. I knew it was going to be a really, really quick show this week, guys. Mainly just I don't have my compadre, my co-host Nick here with me. But we are going to talk about what games that are currently scheduled to release that either have a release date or are TBD for this year. What games do we think that can be delayed, and what do I think will get delayed? So we'll kind of start. I've got the Wikipedia page for games this year for reference. So we are May 23rd. All right. So let's just go along the list here. I'm trying to look here. I don't think we talked about Fall Guys, the Fall Guys announcement as well. Obviously free to play. I think that game's probably fallen off a lot, and I think going free to play and getting on the Switch is probably the best move. I'm surprised it took 2 years for it to come, but it is what it is. So yeah, super excited to try that because I have never actually played it, and it looks to be a lot of fun. All right, so pretty much everything's like set in June, right? Is set in stone. Let's go through July through September here. Xenoblade Chronicles 3, another the next really big one outside of June. That's coming out July 29th. I don't think that gets delayed. I think that's set in stone. Saints Row, August 23rd is the scheduled release date for that. I think that could absolutely get delayed. I think there's a high chance that it could. I that game to me it doesn't look super interesting. But that may just me that may just be me. I'm not a big open world GTA Saints Row kind of guy anymore. I used to be back in the day. But maybe this will win me over. I haven't really enjoyed the last couple of Saints Row games, but I think this is something that could absolutely get either delayed out of 2022 or maybe you just have a get pushed back a couple months. Let's see what's next. I'm trying to survive with my voice here. Splatoon 3, September 9th, set in stone. That's definitely coming out. Let's see. Forspoken. That is set to come out October 11th, coming to PC and PS5. This game, honestly, this game looks kind of bad to me. When they first announced it, I think last year or so, that first reveal, it just looked really rough. And then the latest showing of it, I just could not get with it. So I think this is something that could absolutely get delayed until 2022. If it doesn't hit its October 11th release date, 2023 is when that's going to come out for sure. Gotham Knights, this game October 25th. I think they just announced that they are dropping the previous gen, so it's only coming out for PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and then of course PC. Again, if that's something that doesn't hit its October 25th release date, I think it could definitely get delayed till 2023. I think that game actually might for sure. And then so that's pretty much everything that's set in stone. Hello Neighbor 2 is coming out December 6th. I don't see that getting delayed. I think that's probably going to come. But let's look through everything that is kind of set to come out this year, but can very well be delayed until 2023. A Plague's Tale, Requiem. I am a huge A Plague's Tale Innocence fan. I love that game so much. I played it on Game Pass. If you have not played A Plague's Tale, I highly recommend it. It is a brilliant game, beautiful game. But I definitely think that could be delayed until 2023. I hope it doesn't. Excuse me. I hope it doesn't. This is one of the games I'm looking forward to the most this year. So it would be a really big bummer if it did get delayed, but it is a high possibility. Let's see here. Let's see. Bayonetta 3. We do not have a solid release date. I think in the June reveal or the June Nintendo Direct, I think we'll probably get like an October release date for that. But that could be delayed. That is a Nintendo game that could definitely be delayed. But we'll have to just wait. But I think if it's gonna come out October for sure. Let's see. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. So that kind of just got announced, right? Not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago. That may be. I think this will be the last Call of Duty game we see for a couple of years. I think once Microsoft takes over and acquires Activision Blizzard, I think they're going to pump the brakes on the annual release for Call of Duty. I think we'll get a Call of Duty game every other year, or every couple years, every few years. But I think right now, all hands are on deck within Activision. All their studios are probably working on this just to get it out the door. Because other than that, like Activision doesn't really have much this year. They have, that Diablo game, Diablo Immortals, I believe. And that's really it, I think, for the most part. So I think all hands are on deck to get that thing out the door. I for one, am not excited at all. I haven't played a Call of Duty game in years, so yeah, I'm not excited for that at all. Oh right, and then the Callisto Protocol. That's that game that's in the PUBG universe, which was always kind of weird, but it's like that alien game that looks an awful lot like Dead Space. It's being made by one of the co-creators of Dead Space, I believe. Um, the game looks really cool. It showed off pretty well when it was shown off in, I believe, 2021, I think, or 2020, something like that. I can't quite remember. We haven't seen anything for this. I think this gets pushed to 2023, unless we see something next month at the Summer Games Fest. But I think it gets delayed for sure. Let's see here. I'm trying to just kind of point out the notable games that I see. That Dragon Ball Breakers game, the Breakers, like that, kind of like stealth. Like what is it? Like the oh, what's the Call of Duty mode? Prop Hunt. It's like Prop Hunt meets Dragon Ball. It looks kind of fun, but we haven't seen anything since it got announced last year. So that probably gets delayed. To be honest, let's see. Let's see. God of War Ragnarok. I'm hoping that this thing comes out this year. If it does, it'll probably be early December or maybe November. But there's a very high chance that God of War gets delayed. Maybe that has something to do why Sony's doing the bundle for Horizon, just so they can sell maybe more copies of that. But yeah, I think God of War could definitely, potentially get delayed. But then what do you do? Do you delay it until early February and March and risk Zelda? You don't want two of your big first party games to release within a month of a huge game, a la Elden Ring. So maybe it's better for them to just push and get it out this year. We'll see. Especially if like Starfield comes out early, Q1 of next year, that could just be too much. Obviously, I think I'm probably at this point more excited for God of War than I am Starfield, just because we haven't seen anything, but we'll see what happens. Let's move on. I don't see Hellblade on the list, but I don't think that was scheduled to come out this year. I think that was definitely 2023. Hogwarts Legacy. That game showed off really well. I think it looks fantastic. Kind of the Harry Potter game we've always wanted. So it's scheduled to come out Q4 of this year. I think that could definitely get pushed. Maybe, but we should know, a solid release date here in the next month or so. Let's see. Little Devil Inside. That was that? I thought that was a first party, or that was a exclusive to. Excuse me. Exclusive to. Maybe that's a different game I'm thinking about. I'm not sure about that one. Lord of the Rings Gollum. I think it's probably something that'll get pushed back to 2023. Just haven't seen anything of that game. Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. I really want that game to come out. I'm super excited to see what that game is. But again, I don't know where that would fall in Nintendo's timeline. So I think that could definitely get pushed back. But maybe like a October release date or something. November. Let's move on. Let's see. Untitled Need for Speed game. Not sure when that's going to come out. Portal Companion Collection. I don't know what that is. Oh, the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. That was supposed to come out like January, February of 2021, and then just got delayed indefinitely. So who knows? That probably doesn't make it this year. Resident Evil Reverse, I think, will probably come out this year. I think, yeah, because I think they're doing like they're putting all the up-res and all the Resident Evil 2, 3, and 7 to the Xbox Series X and S and PS5. So maybe that comes out around that time frame. I have yet to like a multiplayer style Resident Evil game. Capcom keeps trying them, but they just do not work out. So who knows? Maybe this will be the one. Let's see. Tomb Raider Reloaded. That looks like an iOS game. Okay, I'm not really too worried about that. Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2. That probably comes out this year, probably around October. And that's really about it, right? Yeah, that's really it, I think. The Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt, the next gen or the current gen versions coming out Q4, CD Projekt Red said, so I think that'll probably hit. But yeah, other than that, I think that's everything that is currently slated for a potential 22 release date. But a lot of it's gonna be delayed, or or we'll actually get a solid release date at Summer Games Fest, and a lot of it will show 2023. So yeah, but still a lot of good games to look forward to this year, especially Nintendo. Nintendo's killed it this year. They've kind of backpacked, taking up the mantle for getting games out the door. Aside from Elden Rings, of course, Elden Ring. But yeah, guys, that is going to do the show this week. I really appreciate everyone that has been supporting the podcast. We just had a huge milestone, so super excited for that. Our podcast has just absolutely blown up here in the last year. Special thanks to Elden Ring, of course, but we try to put on a good show every week, and Nick and I are very passionate about video games and covering the news, and someday maybe we'll expand upon this show and add more shows in a week, or do more live streams. We really want to do a Q&A, like we mentioned in a previous podcast. We really want to do like a live stream separate from the podcast, and if you guys ever have any questions, or we even thought about maybe even doing like a call-in kind of show, like maybe set something up through Discord. That link for that is actually in the show description, so if you have any interest in doing that, like if you ever want to come on the podcast for a few minutes and ask a couple questions, we would love to hear you guys. We always love to talk to the community, whether it's through TikTok or Twitter, or whenever you guys leave your nice thoughts on Apple Podcast, or any place that you can really. I think Apple Podcast is the only one you can actually leave reviews. I don't think Spotify has that ability, but please, yeah, if you guys enjoy the show, please like the podcast and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. That means the world to us. It really helps us spread the show. So, and if you got friends or anything like that listen to the podcast, name drop our show. We love to always have new viewers. But yeah, let me know how you guys like the show this week. I know it was pretty different. The first ever solo dolo show. I'm surprised I haven't said that more. That's what I've been kind of hyping up all week. But first ever solo dolo show. Yeah, I appreciate the support, and we will see you guys back to our normally scheduled podcast on next Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll again I'm gonna try to do some more live streams and general gaming live streams too. But yeah, following everything in our description, we'll see you next time, guys. Later.